In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to use just the A die from the squares set to make this beautiful, it's like a houndstooth or a quilted pattern. I know there's something in my memory that keeps saying what this pattern looks like, and I can't think what it is, but it's literally just using the fall away pieces from the squares. It's using a large frame that's been cut by repeating it and then just framed up. So very simple, a little bit time consuming, but makes an absolutely beautiful background. So we'll get on to how we actually do this with the actual large background. The first thing we need to do is to make the trellis like this. So as you can see, I've used die A and I've cut it into the card 4 times to give me a full virtual A4 sheet, and I could have extended it down easily of the trellis. So I'm going to bring in a piece, I've already done 2, just to show you how to click it in. So here, this is in the mouse grey, I've already cut 2. What you want to do is, this is symmetrical, so you don't have to worry about it, but all you do is literally move the die over until it clicks into place, and it will click quite easily. I can show you, it will actually click anywhere. So you're moving it over until it literally fits itself in, and it will fit itself in quite easily. And what I would always say when you're doing this, don't try and do it from the reverse. It's always a lot easier doing it from the top. So what you want to do when you're doing this and you're recutting a space you've already cut is to tape it extremely well. So I tape the die in 4 places, 2 where it's joining and then 2 at the other side. And if you want to make sure, just turn it over and you can see there that that's fitting in that gap perfectly. So all we do is simply pop that into our die cutting machine and we run that through on a normal die cutting sandwich. So that's been run through, and if you can see, if I turn this over, you can see nothing's been cut here because it was already cut, but these sort of 8-10 squares are cut there. So I simply peel it off, and you do need to be a little bit careful with your tape. That's why I use the low tack removable. But you can see there, we've not harmed any of those pre-cut squares. We've just cut the extra squares, so we would take those out and save these for another project. I'll be showing you in a second how we use those. And again, click it back in, make sure it's in place for the last section, and we cut that through, and that will cut these last 2, 4, 6, 8 pieces. So I'm not going to bore you with cutting those. I've already cut a piece to size. So I've got a large trellis now, and I could use that as it stands to be beautiful on a scrapbook page. You could put different colours in and things. This time we're going to use it for an offset frame as shown in the original card. So what I've done next is I've cut the die twice, clicking it back in white. This is on a piece of double-sided adhesive sheet, and then I've cut the die in the light yellow and the yellow ochre. This is all done in the Crafts 2 linen card. I'll just give that a little bit of a clean up to take the tape mark off. There we go. And you can see there I've slotted them in alternately, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. So what I want to do is to take the frame that I've made, and then I'm going to offset it. So I'm just going to place it down roughly so that it's offset exactly against that background. I then simply tape that down to stop it moving. This is just onto my board, and I've made a frame using the PressCut stitch dot rectangles and plain rectangles. All of the dies in the PressCut range, along with the John Next Door range, have been designed so that they fit and can be framed perfectly by the PressCut nesting dies. That's why they've all been done mathematically correct. So all I'm going to do then is simply frame those squares. Make sure I've got a nice even amount on each side, so I'm checking all 4 corners to make sure it's right. Simply put that down lightly, and I can then pick that up, and you can see there I've sealed it down, it's right. Once I'm happy, press down, and then I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to undercut. And what I mean by that is putting my scissors at a 45-degree angle so that I'm cutting underneath the frame. If you cut straight and try and cut straight, you end up showing some on the front. So if you undercut it, it just makes sure that none shows through to the front. And of course, no one really sees the back. So we're just going to trim this down. There we go. And again, save the pieces left over. You can use them for something else, for another project. Pop them on one side. But then we've got our sort of, it's like a houndstooth pattern or a quilted pattern. I absolutely love this, and you can decorate this however you want. But a really simple way, takes a little bit of time, but just using one of the dies in the set to get this beautiful repeating pattern.